Hi there comic book fans, and today's video from suddenlycomics.com is about what type of comic book investor are you? I think I categorise four categories of comic collectors, and one of the categories has a couple of subcategories. So the first category is the collector. So what typifies a collector is that they want to collect things. Generally, they want to collect them. They want to put them in order. They want to get a complete collection of a particular type of thing, or whether it's just a particular comic title or a particular artist. And typically, a collector isn't going to sell. He's collected because he likes owning his collection, and he's only going to sell them if under extreme circumstances, like if he has to sell them because he needs some money, or the prices have gone up ridiculously and he wants to capitalize on it, but it'll still hurt the collector. So that's my first type of comic collector. Right. The second type is the investor. Okay, so I put two categories under investor. The first is the long-term investor. So this is the person who buys a comic because they believe it will go up in value in the long term. You know, so the guy who just bought Marvel Spotlight 5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider, for $250,000, did he buy that to flip it tomorrow? No, I don't think so. I think he bought it as a medium to long-term investment. And who knows, 10 years down the road, he might be able to sell it for $500,000. And then the other type of investor is the flipper. And the flipper is buying as a short-term gain. So they see a comic, they believe it's undervalued, they buy it, they immediately remarket it and sell it within a matter of days for a higher price. So that's the investor. I think then there is people who buy for the art. They're not really collectors, they're not really investors, but they love the art. Typically the comic art, but also sometimes the art in the comic. So there's the people who are buying for the art. And then thirdly, there's the people who buy to read, the people who want the story, the people who enjoy reading comics. And that is the reason they buy the comics, because they enjoy reading them. Okay, so those are my four categories of why people buy comics. They buy them to collect them, they buy them as an investment, they buy them for the art, and they buy them because they like reading them. So, and the other point I'd make is I think everybody who collects comics has got a little bit of each of those in them. I know I certainly have. So if I think about it and say, why do I buy comics? I would say about 35% of the time I'm buying comics because I'm a collector. I know I just did it the other day. I got a Marvel fanfare, I liked it. Now I've got to have all the Marvel fanfares. So 35% of the time that I buy, I'm buying because I want to collect those comics. About 35% of the time I'm buying as an investment. I'm buying, and I'm a long-term investor. The collector part of me doesn't like selling my comics. The investor part of me likes to think that I'm getting a good deal and that my money is going up over the long term. So I'm not a flipper. I'm not sure you can be a collector and a flipper unless you're a professional, unless you're a comic shop or a comic selling is your business. So I'm about 35% collector, 35% investor. I'm about 20% of the time that I buy comics, it's because of the art. I really like, I like art, and some of the comic book art I really like, and I will just buy comics. About 20% of the time, I'm just buying the comic because I like the art. And that leaves 10%. And 10% of the time, I'm buying the comic because I want to read it. I want to read the story and I like the story. It is only about 10%, but that's probably because, I'm a bit older now. I like comics with some intelligent adult content. Um, so a 1960s Batman isn't going to get me very excited from the story. Now, of course, um, so there's my 100%. That's why I buy comics. That's why I collect comics. 35% collector, 35% investor, 20% for the art, and 10% for the story. Now, sometimes comics come along that actually fulfill all of the above. Okay, so a good example recently was Stray Dogs. Yeah, um, it's collectible, but there was only five in the series. It had an A and a B cover. Well, the first prints did. So you could get all 10 comics. You could collect them. Now there's third, fourth prints and so on. And of course, I've had to collect those too. But they're also a great investment because, you know, I paid cover price for most of the Stray Dogs, and they've gone up significantly since I bought them new. And then I like the art. The covers were great. The horror covers really appealed to me, and that um, Lady and the Tramp meets Silence of the Lambs, um, really good. And fourthly, it's a great story. I don't know if you've read it, but it's a great story. So for me, Stray Dogs hits all the marks for me because it hits all four of the reasons that I collect comics, and I suspect I'm not unusual, and that is why it has been such a successful series. Okay, so put some comments below and tell me what type of collector you are. You know, using those four categories: collector, investor, art lover, reader, and just tell me why it is you buy comics. Okay, comic book fans, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Enough said.